Chapter 3, the Council on Foreign Relations, CFR. The CFR has an invitation-only membership that was limited initially to 1,600 but now numbers well over 3,300. This organization describes itself as being dedicated to increasing America's understanding of the world and contributing ideas to U.S. foreign policy. Some people regard this organization as a think tank. The Council accomplishes this mainly by promoting constructive, closed debates and discussions, clarifying world issues, and by publishing the magazine Foreign Affairs. CFR membership is made up of present and past U.S. presidents, ambassadors, secretaries of state, Wall Street investors, bankers, foundation executives, think tank leaders, lobbyist lawyers, military, industrialists, media owners and executives, university presidents, professors, members of Congress, Supreme Court justices, federal judges and entrepreneurs. A condition of membership is that no one discloses what happens or what is spoken about in their meetings. Some of the members also belong to other groups, so there is some major overlapping of memberships. Some members have included Paul Wolfowitz, Donald Rumsfeld, David Rockefeller, Condoleezza Rice, Dan Rather, Colin Powell, Richard Nixon, Robert S. McNamara, Lyman Lemnitzer, Henry Kissinger, John Kerry, Jack Kemp, Herbert Hoover, Katherine Harris, Alan Greenspan, Newt Gingrich, Timothy F. Geithner, Ann Garrels, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John Edwards, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Dick Cheney, Jimmy Carter, George H. W. Bush, William F. Buckley, John Bolton and Richard V. Allen. In Obama's cabinet, people who were members of the CFR included Robert Gates, Defense Secretary, Janet Napolitano, Homeland Security Secretary, Bill Richardson, Commerce Secretary, Susan Rice, UN Ambassador, General James L. Jones, National Security Advisor, Timothy Geithner, Treasury Secretary, Paul Volcker, Economic Advisor and the Director of the National Economic Council, L. H. Summers. According to author Anthony C. Sutton, members of the CFR, when accused of being involved in a conspiracy, have protested to the contrary, and by and large they are right. Most CFR members are not involved in a conspiracy and have no knowledge of any conspiracy. However, there is a group within the CFR which belongs to a secret society, sworn to secrecy, and which more or less controls the CFR. Surprisingly, the author H. G. Wells exposed the CFR group even though he himself was a member of the British Fabian Society. In 2005, Interpress Service news agency described the CFR as the nation's most influential foreign policy think tank. The John Birch Society claims that the CFR is guilty of conspiring with others to build a one-world government. According to Paul Joseph Watson at PrisonPlanet.com, writing in July 2009, the then Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton was reported to have said during a speech to the CFR that the CFR tells the government what it should be doing and was happy that the CFR had created an outpost in Washington, D.C. because it meant that she did not have to travel as far to get her orders. According to the official transcript, she said that I am delighted to be here in these new headquarters. I have been often to, I guess, the mothership in New York City, but it's good to have an outpost of the council right here down the street from the State Department. We get a lot of advice from the council, so this will mean I won't have as far to go to be told what we should be doing and how we should think about the future. According to Watson, Hillary Clinton's first appointment as Secretary of State was George Mitchell, who was a former director of the CFR. Mitchell got his start in politics from another CFR member, former President Jimmy Carter. Interestingly, President Obama's first appointments were also almost completely CFR members. Writing at that time, it was noticed that it looks like the White House is shaping up to become a branch office of the CFR and build bridges, but then this is simply business as usual. For years, the CFR, with its associate memberships in such international units as the Trilateral Commission, Club of Rome and Builder-Bridges, has infested not only the White House, but the State Department, the NSC, the Pentagon and much of the federal government. During her speech to the CFR, Clinton outlined her vision of the global agenda and how a global consensus should be formed to help shape it by means of a global architecture. The most powerful clique in these CFR groups has one objective in common. They want to bring about the surrender of the sovereignty and the national independence of the United States. They want to end national boundaries and racial and ethnic loyalties supposedly to increase business and ensure world peace. What they strive for would inevitably lead to dictatorship and loss of freedoms by the people. The CFR was founded for the purpose of promoting disarmament and submergence of U.S. sovereignty and national independence into an all-powerful one-world government. Harper's, July 1958. In his book Behold the Pale Horse, William Cooper states that many members of the CFR never serve on the executive committees and never go through any initiation of any kind. They are the power base and are used to gain a consensus of opinion. The majority are not really members but are made to feel as though they are. In reality they are being used and are unwilling or unable to understand. The executive committee is an inner core of intimate associates, members of a secret society called the Order of the Quest, also known as the Jason Society, devoted to a common purpose. They take their name from the well-known story of Jason and the Golden Fleece. Cooper states that the CFR controls the U.S. government and states that every director of the CIA has been a member of the CFR and most U.S. presidents have also been members. He states that members of the CFR dominate ownership of the press and that most of America's top journalists are members also. The CFR is the establishment. Not only does it have influence and power in key decision-making positions at the highest levels of government to apply pressure from above, but it also announces and uses individuals and groups to bring pressure from below, to justify the high-level decision for converting the U.S. from a sovereign constitutional republic into a servile member state of a one-world dictatorship. This is a quote by former Congressman John Rarick.